I need to place my hairstyle well. Sorry.
Thank you very much. So welcome everyone to today's Confucius Institute Chinese Corner. And today we are joined by Xiao Qi, who, as you said, you are a community organizer, adventurer, and aspiring stand-up comedian. I know you've done all of these wonderful things, and we will introduce you in just a moment. But first, as ever, just a quick piece, a little bit of information to plug the Confucius Institute at Coventry University. Who we are a group that our goal is to promote Chinese language and culture across our region of the West Midlands. And we do that through providing Chinese language and Chinese cultural classes, which are available for students, staff, and the general public, and are for people who are studying Mandarin at any level. So whether that is a complete beginner or someone who is nearly fluent and wishes to improve and understand the culture more deeply. We offer cultural experiences and classes for local schools, and we also try to support local businesses in preparing for any cultural exchange or for any of their questions or queries about working cross cultures. If you have any questions or inquiries, please contact us at confuciusinstitute@coventry.ac.uk. Our email I will put into the chat later on, or for any news or updates, you can follow our social media at Twitter, Insta, and Facebook, all of which are at Confucius Cov Uni. So now that plug's done, let's start by introducing our main guest speaker. So Xiao Qi, welcome.
Thank you. Should I do a brief introduction of myself?
Please do. Please do.
Okay, my name is Xiao Qi. My Chinese name is Xiao Qi Hu. You can call me Xiao because someone is feel very difficult to pronounce my name. So you can call me Xiao or Simon, or I prefer you call me just Xiao Qi. That's my Chinese name. Like the Georgie said, I did the comedian show in Chongqing, but I'm not a formal comedian show actor. I will try my best, to show you guys what it look like of Chinese humor. I mean, not in Asian China, not in few China. I mean, right now, China. What is the humor meaning in China now? But I have to say in the first, it's just in my eye. Okay. And thank you for your participation. You have any questions, please take care of my English level because I just want to speak Chinese. Trust me, 100% I want to speak Chinese, but I will try my best. All right.
That's appreciated. We will make sure that we understand. Obviously, part of the difficulty of translating humor from culture to culture is the language barrier. So we appreciate you joining us and sharing your experience with that. I believe you've prepared some slides that you would like to share.
Yeah, I prepare a little bit PowerPoint to share with you guys, to assist in my talking. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, should we talk a little bit about, if you've got a moment? So, before we get into that, when I introduced you as a community organizer, obviously that's how we met, mostly through my wife. So, a little bit to expand upon this, and I'm not sure if this is in your PowerPoint, but when we say a community organizer, what does that mean? What do you do as a community organizing?
You're talking about the Crazy Panda, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to talk about why I do that. Before 2011, I never thought of being like this. But when I was get to United States, being a summer camp counselor, I help a lot, and being along with the child from the low income family from New York City, I feel so happy to be along with them. I feel so happy to exploring the forest, to go outside, to enjoy the swimming, to enjoy the tennis, to enjoy the camping fire. But when I come back to China, I found out most of my colleagues and my classmates, they are depressed. They're chasing everything. They are smart, and they can use the smartphone, the online equipments, but they're not happy. I found out the problem is they focus a lot on their minds. but they lost the happiness to being alone with friends,
Mhm.
face-to-face communication, and doing something. Doing some outdoor activities. So I want to increase the exposure of my friends to forest, to wide field. Then I found this organization called Crazy Panda. Then after 5 years, I want to use my passion to achieve someone's dream. Just like, for example, if George, like you want to hold a dancing party, for your own, but have not, you have non ability to do that. I will help you to achieve your little dream.
Mhm.
I think this thing it sounds stupid and a little bit naive. But
Mhm.
when I was 27 or 28 years old, I found I want to make a differences. But right now, I think my thinking is a little different. Okay.
Okay, great. So I know everyone's here coming in to talk about Chinese humor. And I mean, the reason I reached out to you is, of course, because of your forays, I think is the best way to describe it, into stand up in China. And that's quite a very, very brave thing to do. So
Mhm.
um, again, if this, as much as this may well probably be in your presentation, why did you choose to try to put yourself out to do stand up, and is that something that is widely done and widely practiced in China?
I think for me to do the comedy show in China is a brave thing to do, like you said. For me, for two reasons. First one is for my habit. I like to talk, and I have a very bad weakness. I like to show off. This is, this is being in all my blood. So I've been shown, but I don't want to trouble or make any, trouble with my friends, like to talk to them. No, I try to challenge myself. This is the first reason. I need to find a purple way to show off myself. This is the first reason. Second reason, I don't know what to say. It's about um, let others know yourself is better than show off.
Mhm.
Every time I doing the comedy show, I try to express myself. Then many more opportunities come to me. I
Mhm.
think this is kind of a strategy or trick. Yeah, that's the second
Mhm.
reason.
Excellent. So shall we get in and let's have a look at your presentation? Would you like to share
Of
um,
course.
share the slides? And we'd like to start. Let's get in and start seeing what you've prepared. I'm quite obviously looking forward to seeing this. And while you get this ready, just for all of our attendees, please feel free to ask any questions in the chat. If you have any comment that you'd like to see, it's good to see some of our returning people. I would also be very interested if you have perhaps put in some of your, if you have a simple joke that you quite like, it would be quite good to try to share across the culture.
Mhm. Okay, I try to share my table with you guys, but I need to find out how.
Well, as you did earlier in the
And okay, then I can understand how to do that. So can you guys see that?
we can't see that at the moment. So I mean, you should have the share screen button down towards the bottom, which again, just for clarity, we did run through this earlier. So yes, there we go. Marvelous. Now we can see that. So
All right.
could you make it a little bit larger? Put it into the there we go, into the slideshow, and then we could get there. Perfect.
So it's larger now, right?
Lovely. That's exactly what we would like.
Okay. So should we start now?
Please do. Yes.
Okay. I need to arrange my hairstyle first.
There is the happy
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just relax myself first. Okay, everyone. My name is Simon again. I was honored to be the talker for this session to talk about the Chinese humor. Like I put on the table, you guys can tell. 中国式幽默. Is anybody can speak Chinese of these words? Chinese humor. 中国式幽默. You can pronounce it. This picture is about one character of a Chinese movie. This guy is called Li Biao. I forget his name. Li Biao. He has a dream he wants to be the hero, and he paid money for one company to achieve his dream. He wants to be a hero who don't see anything to the enemy. So the company gave his one task. You need to keep one word. The word is, I won't see anything until you beat me to death. This is the secret. This is the secret words. Then the enemy really beat him to death. This is quite a, I know that's quite a cold joke. That's quite a cold joke. But from this example, you can understand the Chinese humor have some different characters. I mean, compared to Western comedian show. The first character of Chinese humor is about restaurant. Like my father, like to make jokes about me. He will be acting some, very normal, polite jokes among families. He will never ever make any like over enthusiastic performance. For example, like Jim Carrey's film, part of his acts, not offensive, not offensive. Part of his acts, we Chinese people don't like it. Why? Because as you guys say, when you confront with Chinese people, most of their time they're just like a poker face, right? Hey, what's up, man? Hey, hey, George, do you want me to do a session? Okay, I will do it. You think I'm humor? I'm funny? Okay, I will do it. Something like that. So Chinese people don't like over enthusiastic performance. They believe the cold jokes, the cleverness is rooted in your mind, not in your occasion, your performance. Like I said, it's in your wisdom. It's not on your body language. Okay. And second, character. Yeah.
Before we move on, you've said this a couple of times now. When you say a cold joke, what does that mean?
The cold joke is like I said, I made a joke to you. I told a joke to you. You never laugh. You found it's not funny. This is cold joke,
So but almost like saying this is a sort of bad joke in some way.
Yeah, exactly. But when you think through it, think back of it, you feel there's some wisdom in that jokes. This is kind of also cold jokes,
Okay.
All right. The second character of Chinese humor is about to show respect. Like I go to the gym, I'm the leadership of the gym. So majority of my job is to make people laugh. This is deeply rooted in our daily lives. Sometimes if you found a team, there's a Chinese people who like to make jokes, you need to pay attention on him. There are two reasons why he tells jokes. One is he is judging most of us. He's judging most of us. He thinks you are weaker than me, and he's stronger than us. He like to share. He like to show off. He's strong enough to make jokes to judge everybody, like what I did in my secondary school. So I got a nickname, asshole, in my secondary school. That's true, And the second reason is to show respect. Because like you guys say, the Chinese society, most people are poker face, their relationships are a little bit, are not so friendly. So someone need to tell jokes to show respect first. Then, like I talk to George. Hey, George, you're so handsome. Jojo is so beautiful, and Fiona is so kind. Oh, you feel great. Yes, Simon, you're great. Then we can drink a beer afterward, right? This is show respect. The third one, the third character, I think is very special character of Chinese humor. It's called Niar Huai. Niar Huai. It's very hard even for me to pronounce, but I want to put on this session because I think it's quite important. You know, I don't know if there are any people like this one in UK. Someone is look like a gentleman. Someone is look like very polite, very normal, but he or she sometimes will make some very bad things, like speak the very bad words behind you, or for example, if I'm a friend of George, I was drinking with you. I say, hey George, you're so strong. I think you are the king of the drinking beer. You're good enough. You can handle all the beer. No problem for that. I really feel proud of you. You feel great. You think this guy is really, understanding me. Then you drink it up, all the beers. What the result? You're knocking down. But it's not for you, George. You're okay. You are okay, right?
I don't drink beer, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. So from this story, you can understand what I mean. Someone is praise you, say good words about you. It doesn't mean he really like you. He just wants to put some tricks. You know what I mean, right?
Okay, so
yeah,
I'm going to sort of come back. I think I'm looking for a little clarity on this. So, because we're looking at some of you've said the key things are. So there's the person who's judging others to show they're in a stronger position, and then there's also the way to show respect through humor. Yeah. So these are two very different ways. And then this third one, I see you say, is it miao hua?
Miao
hua. So this is almost like a bad person, or sort of a trickster. Yiming has suggested someone like Jimmy Carr, if you're aware of who he is. I'm not sure if this.
Jim Carrey.
No. There is a British comedian called Jimmy Carr who Yiming has suggested, and I think he's someone who tells very rude jokes, I think is the way to describe it.
Oh yeah, that's right. But the rude jokes is not about this decision. It's not about. I'm not going to talk about the rude jokes now. I will put it afterwards.
Okay. Lovely. Yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll have more questions later on. So at the time, please continue.
All right. No problem with that. Okay. I think someone who knows Chinese for more than even 1 year can understand what the meaning of 绿帽子, the green head. Anybody can type the words to me. What the meaning of 绿帽子? Jimmy Carr. No, Jimmy Carr. I will describe it later. How much of a role do gestures play in Chinese humor? Yes, that's what he said. That's what I said. Cockhope. Yes, that's right. You guys can understand that. I feel so great about it because I'm planning to spend 10 minutes to explain this meaning. But you guys understand that. That's great. It seems like the green head is a global joke. Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm going to say, I'm not necessarily sure it's a global joke. I think as you say, we're perhaps aware that it's in China that this is true, but this is not something that would be I imagine most people in the UK would probably not. I certainly wasn't aware of the green hat before I came to China. So perhaps Chris and John have a good understanding of China already.
Okay, but I will explain that.
Please do explain. And then we can certainly come back to Ali's question about the gestures.
Okay. First, I want to talk about the 绿帽子. I will mix up Chinese and English, all right? Then you guys can practice your listening comprehension time, all right? Okay, 绿帽子, it means you have a partner who's cheating on you, mostly describing men. You got a girl who's cheating on you. Then it means the guy is wearing a green hat. In China, wearing green hat is really a big shame. We Chinese people have a word. I will type it. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you, John.
I already typed it into it. 奸进杀. Do you know 奸? What's the meaning of 奸? 奸 is sleeping relationship with someone, or like they have an illegal relationship with someone. 奸, okay? 杀 means killing. We Chinese people, with our ancestors, make a conclusion. The bad relationship is quite close to killing. And there's another word. 笃敬道. This is two phrases. This is two words. 奸进道 means the bad relationship is very close to killing. The second word is gambling. You know, gambling, play the poker games, gambling is very close to stealing, like stealing. Okay, you know what I mean? So, wearing green hats always very close to killing, to murder in China. I mean, for 1,000 years, we have lots traditional story to talking about that. Okay, back to the first question. Someone said, Alison Bushnell. Sorry my pronunciation. You're asking how much of a role do gestures play in Chinese humor? Depending on person, I think the majority of the Chinese jokes is dependent on the language. It's not dependent on the body language. We don't value the importance of the gestures. Why? Like I said, the Chinese people do not like the over enthusiastic performance. If someone is so much passion, is over enthusiastic like me, I will be the target of the next killing. Just kidding. But we Chinese people just like people to calm down first, so we don't count so much on gestures. Yes, I think I answered your question, right? Okay, second one, John Carter. Across Europe, we have tradition of wearing the conhost home. Some imitation of Chinese green hat, often seen in Shakespeare. Oh, that's really, I never heard of it. I never heard of it.
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
As John said, I think it is very, very similar in Shakespeare, and in those days that it would be almost entirely, I imagine, very similar, that if you hear that someone has got the horns, then that means exactly the same as a green hat, and then that figure would usually be laughed at. That would be the figure who in the play is the what we call the butt of the joke. So we would laugh at them. And I imagine if that's similar to the green hat in China, that's a person that others would laugh at, to say, look at that guy, ha ha ha, he's a fool, he's crazy. I mean, the idea of laughing at the cuckold is something that goes even further back than Shakespeare. We can see that in Chaucer, in the father of English literature. I mean, the idea of cuckolding a fool goes back to the Canterbury Tales, and it's a great tradition in literature in the West. I think it's the green hat is perhaps how the difference, the green hat and the horns is perhaps how it goes.
That's, I was surprising because this is my first time to hear you guys have the same tradition.
Mhm.
All right, I will explain the details.
Okay.
What's the how did the 绿帽子, the green hat, original from? Okay, in China, how did it original from? It's back to the Ming dynasty, back to 1,000 years ago. From dynasty, the Ming Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang. He said, if a man who has a wife doing some kind of special business, then the man need to wearing the green hat, and the man is not allowed to walk in the middle of the road, but must walk to side on either side. In this way, when someone, just like me, I saw Zhang San who's wearing a green hat, it means his wife is doing some kind of joke, kind of business, So that's the reason. Then I don't think the normal Chinese, the current Chinese people dare to wear green hats, because I mean the global Chinese people know what the meaning of it. It's really a shame, even between the friends, even between the very close friends. If I say, hey, Simon, I want to put a green hat on you, it's really gonna be a fight afterwards. That's true. Chinese people, you can see on the surface, they'll calm down. But when you come to the sexual level, sexual jokes, it's very easy to get, angry. All right. Then you guys can understand how did the origin from.
Yeah.
I think this kind of jokes are born of fear. Why I see that? Because we want to the true meaning, like I said, the true meaning of many jokes is that they reflect fear. We want to reinforcing and reshaping moral boundaries for the purpose of social control. I mean, why Chinese society is full about the grain jokes, cockles, is reflecting a phobia about cheating on your partner. So therefore, this kind of jokes has a function of social warning and social control. Like I said, Chinese people don't like green hats. That's why we don't like this festival.
That's interesting. I think
so. Never ever invite Chinese people to St. Patrick's Day, even they are so close. So the first time, our close friend George, John, he pushed me. Hey, Simon, you need to wear a green hat. To just celebrate, just drink, just happy, party. I said no. If you want you a friend of mine, no, never ever in my life. So that's a very friendly warning. Okay, do not invite Chinese people to wear green hat.
I think now is a good point to come back to Violetta's question. I think that's
okay,
because we're seeing this, obviously the green hat is something that predominantly we'd be looking at men wearing. Is there a similar idea for women wearing this, or is there, obviously there's a different, I imagine there's a different idea of women being cheated on by their men and men being cheated on by women.
How do you see that? From this joke is mostly using for men, because China, most of most of the Chinese time, we are a man-dominated society. So they have a very high requirements for women, but have a relatively lower requirement for men. So I answer your question.
Yeah,
I think
I
the
think
green
it's
hat is mostly using for men in China. You know,
I
yeah.
think it's also that can perhaps jumping and be tied back to, as I said, a few weeks ago, we looked into Hong Meng, the one of these famous books of Chinese culture, and the highest position that the Zhao family's family member could become was the concubine of an emperor. So the emperor would have many wives, and in normal society, in almost living memory in China, men would have several wives, and concubines would be quite normal. So I think
In
if we're
China,
looking
it's a
at this way,
tradition.
yeah,
It's a tradition. It's like you are very strong. How do you see that? Male animal. So you are able to have, a number of partners.
yeah. It is interesting, however, to see Yi Ming. Thank you to say that as a Chinese female, she wouldn't risk wearing a green hat. So that's good to have a female perspective, as always.
Would I would like to answer this question. Would Mr. Bean should be considered funny from a typically Chinese perspective? I think Mr. Bean is quite popular in China now, especially back to 20 years ago when I was a little child. Mr. Bean is quite funny, but the problem of Mr. Bean in Chinese perspective is a little bit over enthusiastic performance, like I said before, a little bit, because Mr. Bean mostly focus on the, gestures and the first impressions. So this one is not the Chinese spirit. We focus on the language, focus on the logic, the logical things in their mind. So yeah, but Mr. Bean is quite popular now in China. He joined a lot talk show or comedian performance in China. It's quite famous. My student has sent me this message about green hat. Cow horse being cow is very old, many hundred years. Concept close much Europe, but term is not used much nowadays by younger generation unless they have studied older literature such as Shakespeare. Used in a few of his plays, see for grade would be including referring to, of course, we also have Cohenberg the legend. Okay, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. Okay, I think I already answered you guys' question. Okay, let's continue. All right, shall we?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, do not invite Chinese people to do that. Okay. All right. Second word. Yeah, we both like 隔壁老王. What's the meaning of 隔壁老王? Is a people? No. Is a invisible man. 隔壁老王, you can find him anywhere. In the closet of the apartment, in the living room of your apartment, in the kitchen, in the toilet, anywhere you can find 隔壁老王. So what's the meaning of 隔壁老王? Next door, 老王, most of word Chinese people recognize one of the words. Okay, let's explain what's 隔壁老王. Then you can understand what's 隔壁老王. This guy. The middle one is 隔壁老王. The one like your neighborhood who's know you very well, but do something you don't like. Okay, then you can understand, 隔壁老王 why it's so famous. Okay, 隔壁老王 can be your neighborhood, then can be found in closet, and then they are afraid of nothing. I mean, put it another way, they're hero, right? They risk so much, and they're a gentleman's nightmare. I mean, even for me, I'm afraid of Lao Wang who's living next by my home. I remember, it's a true story. My wife, before I met my wife, my neighborhood has her number and call her every night for no reason. Once I met my wife and we have a date and we have engaged with each other, she told me this story. Then I found out my neighborhood, that man is looked at me with a very special, glance. You know what I mean? They found just like, oh, you got a new boy come to your home. Then I understand. I need to watch out. I need to take care. I need to watch out of my neighborhood. So I think this is a gentleman's nightmare. 隔壁老王. Okay. Right now, the 隔壁老王 is very popular words in China. I always want to find out what the reason for that. It's not only for fun. We say 隔壁老王, which is like describe, hey George, don't be 隔壁老王 of mine, okay? Hey, 隔壁老王, come to drink with me. I think it's not only for jokes. It's about the fear deeply rooted in our mind. Why we mention 隔壁老王 so many times? First one is making jokes. The second one is fear of stallions. We really fear 隔壁老王's, the ability of reproduction. The third reason why we mention 隔壁老王 is a lack confidence in personal attractiveness. I think it's not only happening in China. I think it's global situation. I think even for me, when I was teenager, I was not confident about myself. I always thinking, oh, I will losing my girlfriend. No, this guy will, take my girlfriend away from me. I'm afraid of that. Every day I fear about this guy will take away my girlfriend. This guy will take away of my friend. Even I don't have girlfriend at that time. So it's a lack confidence in personal attractiveness. So 隔壁老王. So if you guys want to learn Chinese, 隔壁老王, you can pronounce it and learn it. Once you meet a Chinese friend, you say, hey, hello, 隔壁老王. I promise you, they will be shocked. Just one word, they will be shocked. They say, wow, you're saying I'm 隔壁老王? I'm so strong enough? They will be shocked, trust me. And they will be really like the jokes. Okay.
So
the third.
I'm gonna jump in here just as we talk about this 隔壁老王 idea, because I think this is the thing that jumps in for myself that seems very familiar with this, and is, I mean, there's sort of older humor in the UK that I think that perhaps my parents' generations, we had these carry-on films, and there was a whole sort of raft of movies around the 60s that would have focused on the hero who would have been perhaps seen as a 隔壁老王, as the sort of womanizer, the person who would go around and look and sort of pursue other people's wives.
Yes, exactly.
And my question then would be, is this something that we see in current TV shows and current sort of pop culture in China? Is this a common trope in the TV shows and movies that are on today?
Absolutely. Okay. I think probably more than 50 of the TV programs are including the jokes of 隔壁老王. They're talking about the cheating, the fears, the relationship things, wrong relationships in the family lives. I think most of the Chinese television gonna be include this contents, this episode. I don't like that, but 隔壁老王 is quite famous. Why? I think I feel a little bit, there's a little bit shame. I think it's about the environment, the bad environment, the food, the water. I think most of the Chinese people are worried about their next generation and also worry about their reproduction, their ability to reproduction. I don't want you to go so deeper, but I have to say it's quite linked, you know.
No, I'm sure there would be plenty of research and papers that could be done on this particular what you say there alone. I
Second,
mean,
I
I
feel you
think,
say about the Gorilla Wang.
but it is interesting to see some of the crossover and where we have some of the similarities in again in
Yes.
the things. And I think you're about to start talking about my wife's favorite comedian in Guo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Guo Degang. Guo Degang is China's most popular crosstalk performer. He has revived a traditional comic art, 相声. 相声 is crosstalk. I think 相声 is quite different with the normal comedian show. I mean, normal stand-up comedian show is do it by your own, by one people, right? But Chinese 相声, the comic art, you need to do it with two people, like the Chinese tradition, yin yang. 相声, the Chinese comedian show, have two parts. One part, the left guy, Guo Degang, is a leading actor of comic dialogue. He's a leading role. And the second one is an assistant of him. So this is also very interesting because once I do the stand-up comedy show, I feel so helpless, you know, sometimes so helpless because I want someone to help me, to give some interaction of me. But in front of Chinese audiences, you need to do the stand-up comedian show. You think you feel so hard to make their laugh, unless you put some actors inside them. Just like, hey George, can you sit inside of them? And just like I told some bad jokes, you say, you're so funny. Then you're leading you're leading their applause. Then you can get some applause. I think this is quite different comedian show between China and the foreign countries. Why? This is also a question for me to ask you guys. Do you have any comedian show? I mean, using two people to cooperate with each other. I mean, to transfer your jokes. Is there any, or do you prefer this kind of show?
I think yes, exactly. Don Carter, you've put a couple of the ones I was going to mention. Morecambe and Wise. Certainly, they used to be more prevalent. Then there were the Morecambe and Wise. We had a pair called the Two Ronnies. They would be similar to the sort of the more witty dialogue between two people, especially the Two Ronnies were very close to the crosstalk. Today, I think the closest we probably have would be in the UK would be Ant and Dec, who do sort of some things together. But we do see this a little bit in some American talk shows. Laurel and Hardy things in some American talk shows. So the host, for example, I know that the Conan has a sort of a partner, someone who he can bounce off a comedy partner called Andy, someone or other. And I know Letterman used to have the crosstalk a little bit with the band leader, and some people still do that. They have that, try to have someone to talk with. So there have been some, but it's not as prevalent today, I think, as it used to be. I think what we do might also be close as well, that's different, would be the idea of a panel show. Today in the UK, we do love to have sort of comedians on quizzes or panel shows where they would be able to bounce off each other, to have a similar sort of crosstalk, or to sort of have a comedian to talk with. So things like these in the UK, 8 out of 10 Cats and the 8 out of 10 Cats Countdown with Jimmy Carr would be a good example. The Would I Lie to You and this sort of QI, where the comedians do have someone else. So it's not based on that, single stand-up, but there are comedians sort of working with each other. But we don't have such a formal as something like Xiao Qi, where we have the two people coming up and doing stand-up, purely stand-up. I don't think we have any current, particularly well-known people?
All right, then I understand about that. And thanks for the interaction of John Carter and
Yeah.
Violeta.
Cannonball went past
me,
me by.
hear me.
I'm afraid.
Thank you. Lauren and Hardy. I will like to watch that. Okay, after this session. Okay, I want to talk about the next. It's about the paradox of dirty jokes. Dirty jokes, like you said before, the rude jokes. This has also confused me, you know. Sorry, 还没到吹牛逼啊，sorry. Okay.
Well.
It's about the paradox of dirty jokes. I think the original from street art, the 相声, the paradox, the crosstalk of Chinese is original from street arts. And they need to attract audience that make you, I mean, they're the man who put the food on the table. So they need to try their best to attract a lot the publics to listen their jokes. So the normal jokes, especially some clean jokes, is not competitive in the market. So you need to use the sexual jokes, the ethical jokes to make money. But now the Chinese government is asking them to tell the clean jokes, but I think it doesn't work. So this is kind of paradox, dirty jokes. For me, I'm not judged of me, okay? I like dirty jokes. I know what to say. You know, the sexual jokes, the rude jokes, the easy jokes. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a low person, okay? But I really like this kind of jokes. Really make me laugh, you know. But also we appreciate like the Song Fei, the comedian show actor Song Fei, who's quite doing well on telling the clean jokes. But I think also question for you guys. Don't you guys think the humor, the jokes is the art from street or from the lower class? I think the most jokes is based on our daily lives, is from the street, mostly from streets. But what do you guys think? Okay, let's move on. There's a question for you guys. My own thinking of 相声, the crosstalk. What I was thinking, why dirty jokes works on me? I think the first reason is I like it. The second reason, when someone is talking about the green hate jokes, I was just remind me some funny pictures, like someone is hiding the toilet, or some dirty jokes. Just remind me some physical emotion, physical erection. Then I feel more engaged in the episode. That's why I think their jokes works on me. And third reason, for no reason, I'm just a low person. Okay, is that okay enough? I think that's enough, right? Okay, the second jokes is about the inspiration from the 相声. We call 相声the, how do you see that? The reason why 相声make people laugh. The first rule is 理不歪，笑不来. What's the meaning of that? 理不歪. It means you want to make everything reasonable. No one will laugh. If you try to jump out of the framework of our minds, and you are good jumper, if I can see that, you can leading people to jump out of the frame of our mindset. You are a good joker. So this is the first thing I learned from 相声. The third one, I think telling jokes like the 相声 performance is a way to do the informal confrontation. Like, I forget to mention my job, right? My job is government officer. This is official. This is my part-time job. part-time job is government officer. My main job is comedian show actor. Just kidding. Okay. I think this is a way to do the informal confrontation, especially right now in China. I don't want to mention so much about policy issue, but I have to say, in some country, you feel depressed. You feel something is so much limitation, right? Then you want to protect your self-identity. You want to protect yourself. The best way is to tell jokes. To how do you see that? To blend the limitation surrounding you. This is the best way to transfer your power, the best way to transfer your energy. So this is the three things I learned from Xiangshen performance. Okay, I see someone is say something, right?
Oh, that was me. And I think before we go on, I think we're coming towards the end. We've only got about a little bit under 10 minutes. So
okay,
if we could, I could just ask if there are any for our audience there, if anyone does have any questions that would like to be addressed, I think now would be the time to make sure you write them in the chat, so we do have time to come back to them. Should we? If you're happy, we can stop the screen share, and I have my own question, because I'm interested. Obviously, we're looking at the sort of large scale of comedy, sort of like professional comedy at the moment. But how does this relate to? Well, the one I'm curious about, there have been a recent study that I read about the difficulty for Chinese students in the UK when the Western lecturers try to use comedy, and that would sometimes can make the Chinese students or non-UK students feel sort of maybe left out or feel like they're completely misunderstood. So is there any sort of culture of teachers or leaders using humor in their interactions? And if so, what sort of humor do you think people would use?
I want to show an example when I was in the gym. I don't think I'm this kind of leadership, but my purpose is just want to inspire others to do the exercise. So the normal jokes I want to make is about, hey, I think I'm strong enough to be the coach of you guys. I can do the part time of this gym, and then I'm strong enough to handle all of you guys. Some kind of jokes like this. And sometimes I think, oh, you see my gesture is like a ballet dancer. I'm a like ballet dancer, something like I will be do some gestures, fanning movements, something like this. I think to low down yourself, if you want to be a leadership in a funny way, you need to low down yourself to make fun of yourself. Then the people around you feel comfortable because they will get rid of their alarm system. They will get rid of their defense system. They feel, oh, this is an asshole. This is stupid. Simon is stupid. It's very funny. They will think they are higher than you. Then you make really good thing to the surroundings.
Yeah, and following in from this, I'm curious how this fits in with face in Chinese culture. Obviously, when you're looking at lecturers and people with a power dynamic, there is the issue of mianzi, of face. So are lecturers or people in positions of power able to do this in the culture?
Sorry, I can't follow you. Can you type in the words?
My meaning in this one is that, so if you have a more formal power structure, like you are the teacher and you are the student, or you are the boss at work, is it common to try to bridge that gap, to sort of the teacher to lower themselves or allow themselves to have a little bit less respect?
I think the gap between the teacher to the students, I just take this example because I was the teacher before. I don't think the students respect is the most important thing. I don't think respect is the most important thing. I think is you got the ability to fund their potential. Just like I'm a manager of my company now, I don't want my employees to respect me. No, that's okay. This is not my goal. My goal, I was always thinking about how to using my way to achieve their potential, using a way in a funny way, using a way to low down my position. That's okay. No problem. In the normal times, okay. But I have to say, when we do some business, some serious business, I don't care about the 面子 or respect. Get it down right now. Then we are okay. If you can't get it down,
It's
you need to take care of yourself. That's all.
That's good. And that's interesting. Again, let's jump into another question there. So Alison has asked, are there any subjects that are out of bounds in Chinese culture? So, for instance, poking fun or making fun of people that the Chinese people think highly of. That's in the chat there. And
are
I
there
think
any subjects that are out of bounds in Chinese, just like the sexual subjects, like I said before? If you want to say, hey, I want to have you wearing green hats, just like dirty words. Sorry. First, I want to fuck you. What? Sorry. This is a dirty word, okay?
Yeah.
But really, someone dare to see that. When you're drinking with someone really say this kind of bad words. So this is kind of out of boundary. This is out of boundary in Chinese culture. So for the others, I think they think that's okay. You're stupid. That's okay.
And I think that covers Violetta's question as well about what are considered inappropriate topics, which should be avoided in jokes with Chinese people. So, is it
the
okay?
The same one. I think because I do a lot of communication with foreign friends, I just answer this question from my perspective. Okay. Once I feel offensive is just because I think you didn't take me as your friend. You think I'm weaker than you. Even, Chinese people want to make friends. They have the rules. They want to if they decide to take you as their close friends, they will treat you pretty well. But, like the UK people, like the friend John, sometimes, hey, I say, John, come to my hometown to eat the pig, the white pig, with us. And John said, no, it's my own time. I want to play party. I want to go to Beijing to skating. I will feel a little bit hurt. I think a little bit losing face. I think I take you as a good friend. You didn't buy my face, buy my face. Then I feel it's not appropriate. Maybe it's out of your question, but I think avoiding of sexual jokes and to take care of the Chinese people's face. This is the first thing to talk with them. Yeah.
That's the thing. I do want to. I mean, if we had much more time, we could jump into more about this. I think Yiming makes a very good point. Every joke can be funny until the joke is about you. I do like.
Yes,
that's obviously true.
That's right.
And I would like to jump more into this idea of weakness, there, because you say that you mentioned that you see someone, if you are, perhaps the offense can come if you feel that someone sees that you are weaker than them. But I don't think. Do you mean physical strength, or do you mean you are weaker because you are like your social position, or is that weaker? In what way weaker?
I think more on the psychological level. I mean, on the physical level, you're stronger than me, I'm stronger than you. That's fine. This is kind of a very solid limitation, right? But for the psychological level, I take you as my best friends. I will truly open to you. I treat you. I will tell you the truth. I want you to treat me like the way I treat you. Then you just disappear. You just doesn't care about that, and you go outside to party and say, "Oh, Simon is just a normal friend." You give me this opinion. I feel you are playing with me. So this is kind of, like I said, right?
Yeah. I think that's a fascinating through point that you've mentioned about some sort of insecurity, and that might well be, and especially obviously today when we've looked, perhaps that's more masculine insecurity coming from your own thing. And it would be very interesting to do a future session from a female perspective on what would be the sort of female humor, what would be the female equivalent, because obviously we couldn't understand that from our background as well. That would be perhaps hopefully another session in the future. But I think we need to end there because of time. I'd like to say thank you very much to Xiao Qi for joining us. Thank you to everyone who's chosen to join and ask your questions. And I will be posting this video in our Confucius Institute webpage, and the links to that will be on our on our social media. So there's nothing left to say thank you, everyone. And Xiao Qi, I will hopefully speak soon and say goodbye to everyone.
I also want to thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation, because this is my first time to do this completely English seminar to you guys. It's also special experience for me. If you guys want to share your experiences, I think the next time, more chances to communicate with each other. All right. Any questions? You can address in the blank, or through the George. We can communicate further. All right. Thank you again. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And well, let's say goodbye.
Bye.